Well, the report mentions the active monitoring of several rights groups, including Right to Know, Save SA, and the Council for the Advancement of the South African Constitution. For more on this, I'm joined by CASAC Executive Secretary Lawson Naidoo. Good evening, Mr. Naidoo. Thanks very much for your time. Were you surprised that you were one of the groups that were monitored?
Good evening, Vuyo. Thank you very much. No, we weren't surprised to discover that that was the case. That was in fact the case. We suspected that there would have been a certain level of monitoring of our activities, both as CASAC and as Save South Africa at the time, because we were directly confronting the extravagances of the Zuma administration, the corruption, the maladministration, state capture, and the constant disobeying of the Constitution by the former president. So we were in direct conflict with his agenda, and certainly it's not a surprise. It is very concerning, though, that the former president went to the lengths that he apparently did to monitor civil society organizations acting in the public interest and using state resources to pursue his personal agenda once again.
But then you weren't involved in any subversive or illegal activities, were you?
None whatsoever. Everything we did was above board, and the fact is, if they'd monitored us closely and intercepted communications, there was nothing there that would have given them any ammunition, because all we did was totally above board. We were happy to speak publicly to confront the Zuma administration at the time. We had nothing to hide.
Now, there are people who say that what is being described in this report is in fact not happening it may have gotten worse over the past few years especially, but it started way back. It's not something that started yesterday. Do you agree?
No, absolutely. I mean, we've known this for a very long time, that the intelligence services have been used in ANC factional battles for a very long time indeed. And no, this is not something new. So one isn't surprised that agents within the state security apparatus have been deployed in this manner to pursue factional agendas, to pursue private interests, because this is something that has afflicted the security agencies for some time.
One of the interesting findings about this, well, not that it's a finding, because it's actually something that happened, was how the state security agency was repurposed, as the thing is the word that is being used, but was created not in terms of the Constitution, but through a presidential proclamations.
Well, indeed. I mean, that calls into question the legality and the lawfulness of setting up the agency in the way that former President Zuma did, but goes to the very essence of what an intelligence service ought to be doing, which is to protect the citizens of the Republic, both from a domestic perspective and from an international perspective against external threats. And it seems as if the intelligence agencies were clearly focused on fighting internal political battles within the ANC and against and by former President Zuma against people who are his opponents politically and in civil society, rather than protecting the interests of the Republic, which is what their constitutional mandate is.
Now, chatting to the panel chairperson, Dr. Mufamadi, earlier, I was trying to get him to come on the program. He was saying that the reason they recommended that the president make this report public was precisely because they want South Africa to actually have a deep and wide conversation about intelligence services, and in particular these abuses, and make sure that in that conversation we talk about the sort of things that need to happen so that the situation that we're finding ourselves in now doesn't happen again. Where do you think those conversations should start, given everything that this report has told us?
Well, this is not the first time that a report has made such recommendations. We know, from years ago. There was the Matthews report that was done, I think almost 10 years ago now, over 10 years ago, which made similar recommendations around needing to have a proper and effective civilian oversight over the intelligence services, that Parliament needs to play a proper role in exercising oversight through the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, and to take appropriate measures when necessary. And this has clearly been a failure, and I think we need to strengthen the hand of oversight over the intelligence services. We've seen recently the fact that the Inspector General of Intelligence has been, has not been allowed to carry out his mandate as he would like to do. He's feeling hampered. His security clearance, for example, was threatened to be removed to prevent him from investigating, I think, some of the issues that have arisen in this report by Sydney Mufamadi and his panel.
Lawson Naidoo, thank you very much for your time this evening. He is the Executive Secretary of CASAC, which is one of the organizations that were apparently spied on.